Throughout my life, I've been fortunate enough to learn from the best, those who don't just teach with words, but with actions. And today, I want to share with you the 10 habits that changed my life the most. Habits that not only improved my present, but also showed me the way toward a better Chiponda. The first habit that transformed my life was daily discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not some magical quality that appears out of nowhere. Discipline is built day by day, action by action. This was one of the first lessons I learned when I began following the teachings of Jim Rohn. At first it may seem simple, but discipline has a quality that makes it unique. It is the foundation of all other habits and achievements. And picture your life as a train. Discipline is the energy that keeps it moving. At the beginning, it feels heavy. The train is still. Getting it to move takes effort, but once you push it forward with consistency, it becomes easier to keep it going. In the same way, daily discipline in any area of your life, whether it's your studies, your work, or your health, builds a solid foundation for progress. To truly understand discipline, you must realize it's not about doing something once. It's about doing it repeatedly. Maybe you have a brilliant business idea. Maybe you're passionate about improving your health. But without discipline, those dreams will remain just that, dreams. The key is consistency, doing it every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It doesn't matter if the progress is small. What matters is that every day you move one step closer to your goal. Jim Rohn said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Every time you're tempted to procrastinate, remember, discipline is the force that moves you forward. You can have the best plan, the smartest strategy, but without discipline, it all remains just a fantasy. It's easy to fall into the trap of postponing things, but results don't come from what you plan to do. They come from what you consistently execute. Discipline isn't about willpower on some days. It's about creating a routine that becomes automatic. At first, it's a conscious effort, but over time it becomes second nature. For example, if you decide to exercise every day, it will be tough at first, but eventually your body adapts, and so does your mind. Once discipline becomes a core part of your life, your results will speak for themselves. Discipline is also your way of showing the universe that you are truly committed to your success. The universe responds to consistency. The more disciplined you are, the more doors will begin to open. Because opportunities don't come to those who wait. They come to those who are constantly working toward their dreams. And the key to discipline is repetition. It's not about doing something once and expecting miracles. The process of discipline is long. Sometimes it's tedious, but the magic happens when, over time, those small efforts compound into massive results. Discipline is the invisible engine that drives your dreams, and over time it transforms you into the person you always wanted to become. Now, with this idea of discipline in mind, think about your own habits. How many times have you started something with excitement only to let it fade away because you lacked consistency? This is your moment to change that. Discipline doesn't depend on how motivated you feel. It depends on your decision to commit to yourself without excuses. Every time you follow through on what you said you were going to do, you're building the road to success. The second habit that transformed my life was understanding the power of decisions. Life is shaped by a series of choices. Some may seem small, even insignificant, but over time they build the foundation of our destiny. This was another profound lesson I learned from Jim Rohn, who constantly emphasized that our lives are not the result of circumstances, but of the decisions we make. And I want you to really reflect on that. Your future does not depend on luck, on fate, or on what others do. It depends on the decisions you make every single day. The difference between success and failure, between fulfillment and frustration, often comes down to the quality of our decisions. And the most impactful ones are rarely easy. Think about it. Every day we make decisions: what to eat, what time to wake up, what to focus on, what to ignore. But there are bigger decisions, decisions that determine the direction of your life. And those aren't just made with logic. They come from your values, your vision, and your beliefs. Jim Rohn used to say, "It's not what happens that determines the quality of your life. It's what you do about what happens." That truth has stuck with me for years, because no matter what life throws at you, you still have the power to decide how to respond. You can take a difficult situation and use it as an excuse, or you can use it as fuel. When you face adversity, you have a choice: to see it as a wall or as a lesson, to let it paralyze you or to let it prepare you, and that choice, that decision, makes all the difference. I remember one particular moment in my life that changed everything. I had reached a crossroads. I could continue living on autopilot, or I could commit fully to my goals. I chose commitment. No more excuses, no more distractions. And that decision became a turning point, because from that moment on, I stopped tolerating what didn't align with the future I wanted. And here's something crucial: the decisions you make aren't only about what you say yes to, they're also about what you say no to. You're not just defining your path, you're defining your limits, your standards, your priorities. Every time you say, "This is what I will no longer accept," you draw a line, and that line becomes a boundary that protects your growth. Deciding to commit, to change, to move forward, these are not one-time events. They're habits, they're muscles. And the more you exercise them, the stronger your self-leadership becomes. So ask yourself, what decisions have you been avoiding? What choice have you been postponing out of fear or comfort? That decision, the one that's been lingering in your mind, that's the one that could change your life. Remember, your future isn't determined by the conditions around you, but by the choices within you. And every time you choose consciously, you reclaim your power. You become the architect of your own life. The road ahead won't always be clear. You'll have doubts. You'll feel uncertain. But when your decisions are guided by purpose instead of pressure, you will always move in the right direction. The beauty of decisions is that they compound, just like discipline. Small decisions made consistently create unstoppable momentum. And one day, you'll look back and realize that your entire life changed because of one decision you made and followed through on. The third habit that elevated my life was reading every single day. Now, I know that might sound simple, maybe even obvious, but don't underestimate the power of daily reading, not as a hobby, but as a strategic commitment to your growth. I used to believe that reading was just for entertainment or school, but everything changed the day I truly understood what Jim Rohn meant when he said, "If you want things to change, you have to change. And for things to get better, you have to get better." And how do you get better? One of the most powerful ways is through reading. Books are like silent mentors. Within the pages of a good book, you can access decades of experience, wisdom, failure, and success. You can learn in minutes what took someone else years to figure out. Let that sink in. Someone spent 20, 30, even 40 years of their life making mistakes, finding solutions, testing ideas, and packaging all of that into 200 pages. And you can access that entire journey in a few hours. There is something transformative about reading a book with purpose. It shifts your mindset. It opens your eyes to new possibilities. It challenges your beliefs and expands your vision. Jim Rohn once said, "Miss a meal if you have to, but don't miss your reading." That quote hit me hard because I realized that reading is not an option. It's a necessity. It's part of the fuel that drives a high-performing mind. The more I read, the more I changed. Not just what I knew, but how I saw the world, and more importantly, how I saw myself. Reading helped me gain clarity. It helped me break through limiting beliefs. It gave me tools, strategies, and insights I would have never discovered on my own. But this habit isn't just about consumption, it's about transformation. You don't just read to learn, you read to change, to grow, to evolve. Every page is a step forward in your personal development. Think about it. Just like you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, you also become the average of the 5 books you read the most. So what are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding it fast content, distractions, noise, or are you giving it powerful ideas, deep concepts, life-changing knowledge? Reading every day is about intentional exposure to better thinking. It's about replacing confusion with clarity, doubt with confidence, ignorance with understanding. And it's not about reading 100 books a year. It's about reading the right books and letting them shape you, guide you, and challenge you. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in my life didn't come from dramatic moments. They came quietly, from a sentence, a paragraph, a story tucked away in a book that came into my life at just the right time. And remember, consistency is more important than intensity. It's better to read 10 pages a day every day than to try reading 300 pages once a month, because those 10 pages, they add up. They shape you gradually but powerfully. If you haven't already, make reading a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. Choose books that align with your values, your goals, your vision. Let those words challenge you. Let them guide you. Let them refine you. Because when you change the input, you change the output. What goes into your mind determines what comes out of your life. And if you want to elevate your results, elevate your reading. The fourth habit that shifted shifted the course of my life was learning to use my time with intention. You see, time is the most valuable resource we have. Unlike money, you can't earn more of it. Unlike energy, you can't recharge it. Once it's gone forever. That realization hit me hard. For years, I thought I was busy. I filled my schedule, checked off tasks, responded to messages, but being busy isn't the same as being productive. And it's definitely not the same as being intentional. Jim Rohn used to say, don't mistake movement for achievement. Just because you're in motion doesn't mean you're moving forward. You can run all day on a treadmill and still end up in the same place. I realized I wasn't managing my time. I was letting my time manage me. I was reactive, not proactive. And that mindset was costing me more than I realized. Let me ask you something. How many hours a day do you spend doing things that don't move your life forward? How much of your day is spent on autopilot, scrolling, distracting, delaying? Be honest with yourself, because your schedule tells the truth about your priorities. You can say your goals matter. You can say you want change. But if you don't carve out time for what really matters, what you're really saying is, it's not that important to me. One of the most powerful shifts in my life came when I stopped asking, what do I have to do today? And started asking, what would make today a win? That shift alone changes everything. When you use your time with intention, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. You stop being a prisoner of your schedule and start becoming the architect of your day. And no, I'm not talking about being rigid. I'm talking about being clear. Clear on what matters most. Clear on what moves the needle. Clear on what deserves your focus and what doesn't. When you take control of your time, you take control of your future. Because time is life. How you spend your hours is how you spend your life. I started waking up earlier, not because it's trendy, but because the early hours gave me clarity, quiet, and control. I began protecting my time like my life depended on it, because it does. And I want you to really think about this. What would your life look like if you lived every day on purpose? If you stopped wasting time and started investing it? Time invested in growth, in relationships, in creativity, in discipline, in becoming the person you were meant to be. You don't need more hours in the day. You need more clarity in your day, more courage to say no, more discipline to focus, more presence in the moment. Every person on this planet gets the same 24 hours. The difference is not in the time, it's in how we use it. So here's the challenge. Audit your time. Be ruthless. Look at where your energy goes, where your focus drifts. Then start reclaiming those minutes, those hours, those days. Because when you master your time, you master your life. The fifth habit that changed my life forever was embracing discomfort. Now I know what you're thinking. Who wants to be uncomfortable? We're wired to avoid pain, to seek ease, to look for shortcuts. And yet, every meaningful transformation in life happens outside the comfort zone. Let me tell you something that took me years to fully accept. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. At first, stepping into discomfort feels unnatural, like walking into the cold without a jacket. You want to go back, you want to retreat, but if you stay just a little longer, something shifts. You begin to realize the discomfort is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally. Jim Rohn used to say, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That quote flipped a switch in my mind, because wishing for an easier life keeps you small, but choosing to grow through the hard things, that makes you unstoppable. Think about it. Every time you faced fear and did it anyway, what happened? You grew. Every time you felt nervous, unsure, and still took the step, you became stronger. Discomfort is not a punishment, it's a signal that you're expanding, stretching, evolving. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It whispers, you're fine here, stay safe, stay the same. But the life you want, the goals you've written down, the version of yourself you haven't even met yet, that all lives on the other side of discomfort. When I began to deliberately seek out discomfort, whether it was having tough conversations, waking up earlier than I wanted, or tackling projects I was afraid of, everything changed. Because every time I pushed through, I built a little more courage, a little more resilience, a little more belief in myself. Let me be clear, I'm not talking about reckless suffering. I'm talking about intentional, purposeful discomfort. The kind that forces you to level up, the kind that reminds you, this isn't where you stop, this is where you rise. Growth and comfort never coexist. You cannot become who you're meant to be while clinging to who you've always been. Discomfort teaches you discipline. It sharpens your focus. It humbles your ego. It makes you real. While others wait for motivation, you move through resistance. While others chase ease, you chase growth. And the beauty is this: the more you embrace discomfort, the more comfortable you become with being uncomfortable. You build emotional muscle. You raise your threshold for challenge. The truth is, comfort feels good in the moment, but it costs you in the long run. Discomfort feels hard in the moment, but it rewards you for a lifetime. So let me ask you, where in your life are you choosing comfort over growth? Where are you staying safe when you know deep down you're meant for more? Make it a habit to challenge yourself every day. Say yes to things that scare you. Do the hard thing before the easy thing. And most of all, remember that the greatest victories are born in the fires of discomfort. Because you weren't made to live a small, convenient life. You were made to rise, to lead, to become more. And the only way to get there is through the uncomfortable. The sixth habit that completely reshaped my life was learning to master my emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, emotions are not the enemy. They are powerful signals. They tell us something about our state of mind, our environment, our beliefs. But here's the truth: if you don't control your emotions will control you. And when that happens, you end up living reactively instead of intentionally. Think about it. How many times have you let anger, fear, doubt, or frustration dictate your decisions? Maybe you've walked away from an opportunity because fear whispered you're not ready. Maybe you've reacted in anger and damaged a relationship. Maybe you've let frustration convince you to give up on something that actually mattered. Jim Rohn used to say, discipline is the foundation of emotional strength. And he was right, because self-discipline is not only about what you do, it's about what you feel and how you manage those feelings when they arise. Here's something I realized. Emotions are temporary, but the decisions we make in those emotional states can have lasting consequences. That's why mastering your emotions is not about suppressing them, but about learning to respond instead of reacting. Fear will show up, always, but discipline teaches you to move forward anyway. Anger will rise, but discipline gives you the pause to breathe, to reflect, to choose words that heal instead of harm. Doubt will creep in, but discipline reminds you of your vision, your commitment, your bigger why. The most successful people you know are not those who never feel fear or frustration. They are the ones who refuse to let those emotions dictate their actions. And here's a powerful truth: your emotions are valid, but they are not commands. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you can't take one small step forward. Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean you're not capable. Just because you feel doubt doesn't mean you're unworthy. Mastering your emotions is about becoming the observer of your inner world. When you feel something, pause and ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Is this feeling guiding me toward growth or holding me back? That moment of awareness is where power begins. I'll tell you something else. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, they fall. If you can learn to ride the wave without letting it knock you down, you'll discover an incredible strength within yourself. And don't confuse emotional mastery with emotional denial. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about honoring your emotions without being enslaved by them. It's about saying, yes, I feel fear, but I choose courage. Yes, I feel doubt, but I choose action. Yes, I feel anger, but I choose peace. The beauty of this habit is that once you learn to manage your emotions, you gain control of your entire life, because every decision, every relationship, every opportunity is filtered through your state of mind. And when your state of mind is steady, your path becomes clear. I want you to imagine what your life would look like if you stopped being a prisoner of your emotions, if you no longer allowed fear to hold you back, if you no longer allowed doubt to paralyze you, if you no longer allowed anger to derail you. Imagine how much more progress you would make, how many more doors you would open, how many more dreams you would pursue. That's the gift of emotional discipline. It creates resilience. It gives you perspective. It keeps you moving forward when most people stop. So the next time your emotions rise and try to take control, remember this: feelings are fleeting, but your purpose is permanent. Let your vision lead, not your mood. Let your discipline guide, not your impulses. When you master your emotions, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, there is nothing in this world you cannot achieve. The seventh habit that elevated my life was redefining my relationship with challenges. Most people see challenges as roadblocks, as signs that they should stop, turn back, or settle for less. But what I learned is this: challenges are not here to break you, they're here to build you. Life will test you, that's a guarantee. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments when you wonder if the struggle is even worth it. But here's the truth: those very moments are the training ground of greatness. Think about it. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is forged in fire. And your character, your resilience, your strength, your wisdom is forged in the face of adversity. Jim Rohn once said, "Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills." That single sentence shifted how I saw every difficulty. Instead of asking, "Why me?" I began asking, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me better?" That shift changed everything. Because challenges, when seen through the right lens, become opportunities. They push you to grow stronger, to think differently, to expand beyond what you thought was possible. Every challenge you face is like a mirror. It shows you who you really are, what you truly believe, and how much you're willing to fight for your goals. And if you lean into it, that mirror also shows you who you can become. The key is this: challenges are not permanent. They are temporary. They are moments, but the strength, the discipline, and the lessons you gain from overcoming them, that lasts forever. Think of the greatest leaders, innovators, or achievers in history. Do you think their paths were smooth? Do you think they succeeded because life handed them easy opportunities? Of course not. They succeeded because they faced resistance head on, because they didn't let setbacks define them, because they turned every obstacle into a stepping stone. But here's what most people miss. Challenges also bring clarity. They strip away the unnecessary. They reveal what truly matters. They force you to focus on what's essential. So the next time you face a challenge, don't shrink back. Don't complain. Don't see it as proof that you're failing. Instead, see it as proof that you're in motion, that you're on the path, that life is stretching you for the next level. And here's the beautiful paradox. The very challenges you curse today often become the very blessings you thank tomorrow, because they pushed you, they refined you, they made you who you are. So embrace your challenges, respect them, learn from them, and most importantly, rise through them. Because every time you overcome a challenge, you're not just moving forward, you're becoming unshakable. And when you become unshakable, there is no storm, no obstacle, no setback that can stop you from reaching your destiny. And now, my friends, we arrive at the closing of this journey together. But in truth, this is not the end. It is only the beginning of your own journey toward mastery, discipline, and fulfillment. We've spoken about habits, we've explored the silent power of discipline, the weight of decisions, the growth found in discomfort, the mastery over emotions, and the transformation that comes through challenges. And now, it's time to put it all into motion. Because none of this matters, none of these ideas, these principles, these truths, if they remain only as words. Words don't change your life. Action does. Here's the reality. Your future is not written yet. It's not determined by the past, by your failures, or even by your current circumstances. Your future is shaped by the choices you make from this moment forward. And every small act of discipline, every intentional decision, every challenge you face with courage, that's what carves the life you truly want. Jim Rohn used to remind us, success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Not once in a while, not when it's convenient. Every single day. The world is full of people waiting for motivation, waiting for opportunity, waiting for the perfect time. But let me tell you something. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And if you wait for the stars to align, you will wait your whole life. Success belongs to those who act, not those who wait. So I want to ask you, right here, right now, what are you going to do with this moment? Are you going to let it pass, nod your head, and then go back to the same habits that have kept you stuck? Or are you going to make a decision, a real, lasting decision, that today is the day you take ownership of your future? Because ownership is the key. When you take ownership of your actions, your time, your habits, your emotions, and your challenges, you stop being a victim of circumstance and you start being the author of your destiny. And yes, it will be hard. Yes, you will fall. Yes, there will be days when everything in you screams to quit. But those are the days that define you. Those are the days that separate those who dream from those who achieve. Remember, the pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. And if you choose discipline today, you will thank yourself tomorrow. Every small win, every promise kept to yourself, every moment you choose growth over comfort, it all compounds, slowly at first, quietly, almost invisibly. But then one day, you wake up and realize your life is no longer the same. You are no longer the same. And the beauty is this: success is not just about the destination. It's about who you become along the way, the strength you build, the wisdom you gain, the character you shape. So let this be your commitment, that from this day forward, you will no longer wait. You will no longer procrastinate. You will no longer let fear or doubt control your destiny. Instead, you will act with courage, with clarity, with Discipline, because you are capable of more than you know. You carry within you the potential to inspire, to lead, to build, to create. But that potential is nothing without action. So take that step. Start small if you must, but start, because every step you take is a declaration to yourself and to the world that you are not here to drift. You are here to rise. And as you rise, remember this: the limits that hold you back are not out there in the world. They are within. And when you break those internal barriers, you unlock the power to soar higher than you ever imagined. This, my friends, is your time, your life, your journey. So go out there, live with intention, act with discipline, embrace discomfort, master your emotions, learn from your challenges, and above all, keep moving forward, one step, one choice, one day at a time. Because the future is waiting, your dreams are waiting, and the best version of you is waiting. It's time to claim it. Here's to your growth, your discipline, and the extraordinary life you are about to create.